Mending. Mending is the kind of enchantment that turns tools into legends. Instead of watching your favorite pickaxe slowly break apart, this enchantment makes sure it sticks around forever, so as long as you keep feeding it XP, that is. Every time you collect experience from mining, killing mobs, or smelting, the points go straight into repairing the item instead of filling your level bar. For every single experience point, the tool regains 2 durability points, meaning that as long as you're earning XP, your tool is essentially immortal, but there's a catch. If you have multiple mending items equipped, only one of them gets repaired at a time, chosen at random. This means that if you're decked out in full mending armor while holding a sword and a pickaxe, you can't control which piece of gear is actually getting repaired. The best way to make the most out of it? XP farms. If you're running an AFK fish farm, a mob grinder, or just obliterating everything in sight, your gear will never need replacing. Pair it with Unbreaking and you'll never even notice durability dropping in the first place. Unbreaking. Unbreaking is the closest thing in Minecraft to an extended warranty. Instead of stopping items from taking damage altogether, it simply gives them a chance to ignore it. Every time a tool, armor piece, or weapon is supposed to lose durability, Unbreaking steps in with a percentage chance to say, not today. At level 1, your gear lasts twice as long. At level 2, you're looking at triple the lifespan, and then at level 3, the highest level, your tools last 4 times longer than normal. When combined with Mending, this enchantment basically ensures you'll never need to craft another diamond or netherite tool ever again. And yes, shields also benefit from this, meaning that with Unbreaking 3, you can block attacks almost indefinitely. Curse of Vanishing. Curse of Vanishing is for people who want to make sure no one loots their stuff after they die. Normally, when you kick the bucket, your gear drops on the ground waiting for you or someone else to come grab it. But with this enchantment, the moment you die, the item just disappears forever. For PvP players, this can be a great way to deny enemies your best loot. For everyone else though, it's more of a cruel joke. Once an item has Curse of Vanishing, there's no way to remove it unless you're in creative mode. If you accidentally put it on something valuable, well, good luck, because it's not coming back. Aqua Affinity. Aqua Affinity is an enchantment that fixes one of the most frustrating parts of underwater mining. Normally, breaking blocks while submerged takes 5 times longer than it does on land, making even the simplest tasks feel like a chore. With Aqua Affinity, that penalty is completely removed, allowing you to mine at normal speed, just like you would on the surface. This enchantment only applies to helmets, meaning you don't have to waste a slot on your pickaxe for it, and it pairs perfectly with Respiration, which lets you hold your breath longer underwater. Whether you're raiding an ocean monument, digging up clay from riverbeds, or building an underwater base, Aqua Affinity makes the whole experience far less painful. Without it, you're just another player stuck watching progress bars crawl at a snail's pace, hoping you don't drown before you finish breaking a single block. Blast Protection. Blast Protection is what you want when your main method of greeting creepers is letting them blow up in your face. Unlike regular protection, which reduces all incoming damage, Blast Protection specifically focuses on explosions and knockback. At level 1, it shaves off 8% of the damage, but at level 4, which is the max level, you'll be taking 32% less damage from TNT, gassed fireballs, and those unfortunate moments when you forget a bed explodes in the nether. The knockback reduction is a lifesaver too, preventing you from being launched into lava or off a cliff when a charged creeper decides to ruin your day. It's a solid enchantment, but it doesn't stack with other protection types, so if you're going all in on blast protection, just know that you're going to give up fire, projectile, and regular protection. Still, if your base looks like Swiss cheese because of accidental explosions, this is probably the enchantment for you. Curse of Binding. Curse of Binding is less of a helpful enchantment and more of a practical joke in item form. Once you equip a piece of armor with this curse, it's stuck on you forever. And I mean forever. Well, not actually forever, but at least until you either break the armor or die. That means if someone tricks you into wearing a pumpkin helmet or a leather chest plate and you're playing in survival, you're out of luck. Even taking it off in a crafting table or with a grindstone won't work. Hardcore players fear this curse because if they accidentally equip bad armor, there's no way to remove it without dying, and, well, death isn't exactly an option in that mode. On the other hand, some PvP players get creative and slap this enchantment onto disposable armor, tricking enemies into wearing garbage gear for the rest of their play session. The moral of the story is this: always check your gear before putting it on, or you might end up permanently wearing a leather tunic named "You've Been Played." Depth Strider. Depth Strider is the difference between gracefully swimming through the ocean and feeling like you're moving through a pool of syrup. Normally, water movement is slow and clunky, making ocean exploration and underwater fights very frustrating. But with Depth Strider, your speed underwater increases significantly. At level 1, it's 33% faster. At level 2, 66%. And at level 3, you move just as fast underwater as you do on land. This enchantment is exclusive to boots and pairs perfectly with Respiration and Aqua affinity, turning you into an underwater powerhouse. Whether you're raiding ocean monuments, chasing drowned mobs, or just avoiding the struggle of swimming through flowing water, Depth Strider makes everything feel smooth. And for those who like speed, it also stacks with Dolphin's Grace, giving you an insane movement boost that turns you into an aquatic speedster. Feather Falling. Feather falling is the closest thing Minecraft has to a parachute. Normally, falling from high places means one thing: a respawn screen. But with feather falling on your boots, you can survive drops that would normally turn you into a crater. Every level reduces fall damage by 12%, meaning at level 4, the max, you'll take 48% less damage from falling. This makes it an absolute must-have for anyone who likes building sky-high structures, speed running the end, or just has a habit of walking off cliffs by accident. And while it won't let you survive an unlimited fall, it does stack with protection, meaning you can minimize fall damage even further if you're properly geared. Pair it with a water bucket for clutches and you'll never have to fear heights again. Unless, of course, you forget to put your boots on. Fire Protection. Fire Protection is the difference between a mild inconvenience and becoming a human torch. This enchantment specifically reduces damage from fire-based sources, including lava, blazes, fire aspect swords, and even that one time you decided to walk through a burning village just to see what would happen. Each level shaves off 8% of fire damage, maxing out at 32% at level 4, but the real game changer, it also reduces how long you stay on fire, meaning if you do take a lava bath, you won't be running around screaming for quite as long. While it won't make you completely fireproof, that's what fire resistance potions are for, it does stack with other protection enchantments, making it a solid choice if you spend a lot of time in the nether or have a history of accidentally setting yourself ablaze. Just don't expect it to save you from falling into lava. Feather falling has no sympathy for poor life choices. Frostwalker. Frostwalker is what happens when Minecraft asks, what if you could walk on water like a budget ice wizard? Well, slap this enchantment onto your boots and suddenly every water source block you step on turns into frosted ice, creating a temporary path that slowly melts behind you. This makes it perfect for crossing oceans or just flexing on dolphins by refusing to swim. The downside? Well, it only works on water source blocks, meaning it won't save you from sinking into a swamp or getting carried away by flowing water. At max level, Frostwalker also lets you stand on magma blocks without taking damage, which is a pretty niche perk, but great for when you accidentally step on one while looting an underwater ruin. It's mutually exclusive with Depth Strider though, so you have to choose between being an underwater speedster or an ice walking magician. Pick wisely or just carry 2 pairs of boots like an actual pro. Projectile Protection. Projectile Protection is the answer to Minecraft's worst sniper, skeletons. Ever tried running across a dark plains biome only to get turned into a pincushion by arrows? Well, this enchantment reduces damage from all projectile-based attacks, including skeleton arrows, blaze fireballs, gassed explosions, and even those little spit attacks from llamas. Each level cuts down projectile damage by 8%, maxing out at 32% at level 4. Unlike regular protection, which reduces all damage types a little bit, projectile protection specializes in making long-range fights way less painful. It's especially useful for dealing with bastion remnants where piglin brutes don't care about armor, but crossbow-wielding piglins definitely do. Like other protection enchantments, it doesn't stack with fire protection or blast protection, so you have to choose your defensive strategy. But if your biggest enemy is a skeleton with perfect aim, projectile protection might just save your life. And your dignity. Protection. Protection is the ultimate catch-all defense enchantment. Instead of focusing on one specific type of damage like fire or projectile protection, it reduces everything by 4% per level, maxing out at 16% at level 4. That means whether you're getting blown up, burned, shot, drowned, or just punched in the face by an iron golem, protection has you covered. It's easily the most versatile enchantment for armor, making it a go-to choice for players who don't want to specialize. The only catch? It doesn't stack with blast, fire, or projectile protection, so you have to pick this if you're going for an all-rounder setup rather than a focused defense. Still, unless you have a very specific threat in mind, Protection 4 is usually the safest bet. It won't make you invincible, but it will make sure you last longer in almost any situation. Just don't get too cocky. It doesn't protect against your own bad decisions. Respiration. Respiration is for anyone who hates the annoying reality of running out of air while exploring underwater ruins. Normally, you'd get about 15 seconds before your character starts choking dramatically, but with this enchantment, you can extend that by 15 seconds per level, maxing out at 45 extra seconds at level 3. This means you can dive for nearly a full minute before needing to resurface, making it a must-have for ocean adventurers, axolotl enthusiasts, and anyone who keeps getting distracted by glowing squid. As an added bonus, Respiration slightly improves visibility underwater, which makes finding shipwrecks, amethyst geodes, or your own poor life choices a bit easier. Pair it with Aqua affinity and you basically become a human submarine, minus the torpedoes of course. Soul Speed. Soul Speed is the enchantment Mojang threw in just to make traveling through the Nether a little less painful. Normally, walking on soul sand or soul soil feels like running through knee-deep mud, but with this enchantment, you'll move faster than you would on regular blocks. It's the only enchantment that makes you speed up instead of just preventing slowness, which is both cool and mildly terrifying. At level 3, you'll be zooming across soul sand like a ghost in a hurry, making it perfect for quick escapes from piglins, wither skeletons, or your own regretful decisions. The downside? It drains durability every time you step on soul blocks, which means you might accidentally destroy your own boots by just running around. But hey, that's the price of speed. Just ask anyone who's ever broken their elytra mid-flight. Thorns. Thorns is for players who believe that if they're going to take damage, they might as well make their enemy suffer for it. With this enchantment, every time something hits you, there's a chance they'll take damage right back. Kind of like a spiky porcupine defense system. At level 3, there's a 100% chance to reflect damage, and it can even hit back with more than the original attack dealt, which means you can theoretically kill a zombie just by standing there. The trade-off? Every time Thorns activates, it chews away at your armor's durability, meaning your enchanted netherite chestplate might not last as long as you'd like. It's great for PvP, annoying for mob fights, and absolutely hilarious when a baby zombie punches you and immediately regrets it. Swift Sneak. Swift Sneak is the answer to one of Minecraft's biggest struggles: slow, painful sneaking. Normally, crouching makes you move at a snail's pace, which is fine for avoiding warden detection, but absolutely miserable for building bridges in the Nether. This enchantment speeds up your crouching movement by 15% per level, maxing out at level 3, where you can sneak almost as fast as a normal walk. It's exclusive to leggings and was originally designed for deep dark exploration, but let's be real, most players just use it to make sneaking on thin ledges slightly less stressful. No more painfully slow shifts along one block pathways or awkwardly creeping around in PvP battles. With Swift Sneak, you can move like a ninja, or at least a very quiet jogger. Bane of Arthropods. Bane of Arthropods is the enchantment that makes you an absolute menace to anything with too many legs. It specifically targets spiders, cave spiders, silverfish, endermites, and bees because apparently Mojang decided bees needed to be on the hit list. At level 5, your sword or axe deals an extra 12.5 hearts of damage to these poor creatures. Plus, it inflicts slowness 4, meaning they'll be crawling towards you like they just ran out of energy drinks. It's great for clearing out abandoned mine shafts or turning silverfish into an extinct species, but against anything not classified as an arthropod, it's about as useful as a wooden sword in the nether. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you're exclusively fighting spiders and silverfish, congratulations! You are either very unlucky or just very, very, very lost. Breach. Breach is a PvP and PvE game changer for anyone who hates how long it takes to chomp through an enemy's overpowered armor. With each level, it ignores 15% of the opponent's armor effectiveness, meaning at level 4, you're cutting through 60% of their defenses like they're wearing paper instead of diamond. This makes it one of the most devastating combat enchantments when dealing with heavily armored enemies, whether that's a full netherite PvP player, an ironclad pillager captain, or some poor skeleton who just picked up the wrong chestplate. The only downside is that it won't affect unarmored enemies, so if you're fighting a zombie in nothing but rags, you're still stuck doing the usual hacking and slashing. Density. Density is what happens when Mojang decides that gravity should hurt more. Designed specifically for maces, this enchantment boosts the amount of damage your weapon deals while falling, meaning the higher you drop, the harder you hit. At max level, the damage multiplier becomes outright absurd, making sneak attacks from above ridiculously powerful. If you've ever wanted to leap from a tower and obliterate an enemy in a single hit, this enchantment is for you. The downside? Well, you have to actually land that hit, or you're just plummeting into the ground like an overly ambitious anvil. It's the perfect enchantment for anyone who likes dramatic entrances, sky-based PvP strategies, just wants their weapon to turn into a medieval meteorite, or is embracing their inner wily coyote that day. Efficiency. Efficiency is normally the go-to enchantment for breaking blocks faster, but when applied to an axe, it has a whole different use. Stunning shields. At base level, you have a 25% chance to disable an opponent's shield, with an extra 5% per level, maxing out at 45% with efficiency 5. This means shield users won't just be able to block their way through combat anymore, at least not reliably. It's a brutal enchantment for PvP, making axe fights much more unpredictable and rewarding aggressive players who don't want to sit through a shield stalemate. Of course, it still helps with chopping down trees faster, so if you're ever in a situation where you need to obliterate both a player and a forest, efficiency's got you covered. Fire Aspect. Fire Aspect is the perfect enchantment for anyone who thinks swords are just not violent enough on their own. At level 1, it sets your target on fire for 4 seconds, dealing an extra 4 damage over time. Level 2, 8 seconds of flames and 8 extra damage. It's like handing your sword a built-in flamethrower. The best part? Any animal you kill with it automatically drops cooked meat, so you can go straight from combat to dinner without needing a furnace. The only downside, if you're fighting an Enderman, good luck, because the moment they catch fire, they'll teleport around like a glitchy Wi-Fi signal. It's also completely useless in the rain or underwater because, as it turns out, fire and water don't mix. So if you ever wanted to roleplay a medieval arsonist, Fire Aspect is the way to go. Looting. Looting is what every player wants when they realize how stingy mobs can be with their drops. At level 1, it increases mob loot by 1 extra drop, and at level 2 by 2 extra drops, and at level 3, it maxes out at 3 extra drops. It also significantly increases the chances of rare items appearing, meaning getting ender pearls, wither skeleton skulls, or even rare mob heads suddenly become way easier. The downside? It only works if you land the killing blow with the enchanted weapon, so if you accidentally set fire, fall damage, or a rogue skeleton steals your kill, you're out of luck. If you're farming rare drops though, this enchantment is an absolute must. Unless, of course, you enjoy spending hours trying to get one wither skull, which I certainly don't. Impaling. Impaling is the aquatic warrior's best friend, turning a trident into an absolute death machine for anything that naturally spawns in the ocean. At level 5, your trident deals an extra 12.5 hearts of damage to ocean mobs, which means guardians, elder guardians, dolphins, squids, and even axolotls don't stand a chance. The only problem, it only works on these specific mobs in Java Edition. In Bedrock, however, it just straight up boosts trident damage against everything when you're in water, making it hilariously overpowered in underwater combat. If you want to feel like Poseidon himself while fighting drowned or taking down an ocean monument, Impaling is the enchantment to go for. Knockback. Knockback is for players who like to keep their enemies at arm's length by force. At level 1, it knocks back enemies 3 blocks, and at level 2, that jumps up to 6. It's amazing for keeping creepers away so they don't explode in your face, or for sending zombies flying off cliffs for a quick and easy kill. The problem? It's too good sometimes. If you're trying to farm mobs in a contained area, Knockback will send them flying in every direction, making it more of a hassle than a help. And if you're fighting another player, you might just launch them to safety instead of finishing them off. Still though, if you like the idea of playing baseball with mobs, Knockback will turn your sword into a home run machine.